Welcome back. Just kidding. It's Thursday night. Just got done watching some Thursday night football, and I gotta say that was a fantastic game. Great game. Lots of drama, lots of action, lots of offense. The teams kind of took turns with their offensive battles. I feel like it was Kansas City, in the first half, and then it was more San Diego in the second half. Great all-around performance by both teams. Phillip Rivers, I'm going to talk a lot about him later. Just Phillip Rivers is being Phillip Rivers. He comes out in the first quarter and he was having one of those games that I talked about in my last video, where it's either going to be 0 picks with 4 touchdowns, or it's going to be 0 touchdowns with 6 or 7 picks. Obviously, I'm embellishing, but we all know what Phillip Rivers can do. Patrick Mahomes is a certified baller. I've been saying this for a while now. I've been saying that all season. After the very first game is really all I needed to kind of just check him out, kind of just see what he's about. And from the very first day one, week one, I knew that he was going to be a baller. Now, before that, one of my buddies, his name is Ben, he is the one that actually put me on Patrick Mahomes even before this season. Actually, when before Mahomes was a rookie, Ben, being a graduate of Texas Tech, was following Texas Tech, and he told me that he would think that Mahomes would be playing on Sundays. The first time he saw him play, he said that Mahomes will be playing on Sunday, and I trust Ben's football knowledge because he's very intellectual when it comes to that. And when he was a rookie, I was always kind of like, hey man, what's up with your boy? Why isn't he playing over Alex Smith? Kind of just messing with him. And I think it was it week 15 or week 17 last season, Mahomes came in and he just destroyed whoever their opponent was. He just completely destroyed him. But at the time, that was more because, you would factor in the fact that it was week 17. You got to figure out who they were playing, if they were out of the playoffs, if they even cared. We didn't really know that Mahomes was the real deal at that point. We know now. Speaking of my friend Ben, I got some sad news from him earlier today, and I just want to get a little somber just for a moment, and then we're going to pick right back up. But I really want to offer my condolences to him. He lost his dog today, and name was Ella. She was a black lab. I met her a few times. I met her plenty of times. I played with her. She was just your standard black lab. She's very lovable, always wanting to play, and she just loved tennis ball. She would actually, he had a command where he would make the dog, no matter where the tennis ball was, she would go find the tennis ball and she would bring it and put it right in his hand. And she would sit there and she would wait for hours until he threw it, and then she can go get it again. She was just very sweetheart. Unfortunately, he had to put her down today. We've all been there. I personally, and I want to talk about this for a minute because it's kind of irritates me. I personally have never, how am I supposed to put this? I've never owned an animal from their birth to their death. I've just never did that. I grew up in an Iranian house. My mom did not want dogs. She was a cat lady, but even then we'd get cats, we'd keep them for a little bit, and then we would kind of move them along. I have had dogs in the past, and some people give me some, they kind of criticize me for getting rid of the dogs, but sometimes you just can't handle it, or something comes up and you're forced to give the dog up for adoption. And I really don't like the fact that I've gotten a little bit of hate about that. Anyways, what I always tell people is that I am the world's best foster parent. I have a cat now, and I love the cat. The cat's cool. I'm cool with the cat. We get along great. Shout out to Ben. Rest in peace, Ella. She was a great dog. He raised her right. She was with him from, the moment she was this big all the way until she was this big, and then unfortunately until she had to be put down today. So rest in peace, Ella. All dogs go to heaven. They made a movie about that. Ben told me that all pets go to heaven. I think he told me that because I had a cat. I'm not too sure, but Ella, we'll see you in the next life. Speaking of Ben, he's in my fantasy league, and I do this thing in my fantasy league where in the group chat I type about, I don't know, maybe about this much, and I do fantasy matchups every single week between the teams in our league. We do head to head, and I critique every single matchup and I offer a preview. And so I want to do that for you guys. It's down to 4. It's down to the final 4, as I'm sure it is in your league. And I want to go over their matchups, and I will name their players on each team, and I kind of want to just go like one for one. Name the quarterback on Ben's team, and then name the quarterback on my friend Christian teams. Then name a wide receiver, running back. You get the point. I wanted to guys offer you kind of an insight of how I do things for them. I think it's going to be fun. So here we go. I have it written down on my iPad, my notes here. So if I look down, that's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at, By the way, I got a YouTube comment about how I cuss too much, and at first I was like, I'm just going to be me. I'm going to do what I want to do. But then he made a valid point that he wants his son, to, be able to get fantasy advice. And so it made sense to me, and so I'm going to try to control my cussing. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I'm going to try my best. If you're a parent and you're letting your child watch this, just go ahead and let them watch, and I'm going to try my best, and you have my word, I will try my best to keep it PG to PG-13. I'm not going to go G because that's just not my style, but I will try not to drop as many F-bombs. So the first matchup is Ben versus Christian. And Ben's got Aaron Rodgers, Christian's got Jared Goff. I got to go with Aaron Rodgers. I have to go with Aaron Rodgers. He has a brand new coach, and it seems like Joe Philbin, who he had a disaster in Miami. If you guys don't remember, he was the coach of Miami when they had the Richie Incognito bullying problem. He didn't really do much about it, and then they sucked. They lost so many games. Joe Philbin, he's kind of a nobody, but it seems like he is allowing Aaron Rodgers to call the shots and to do what Aaron Rodgers wants to do, which why hasn't he been doing that for years and years now? I mean, you're talking about Aaron Rodgers. You're talking about the best quarterback in the league when it comes to all-around skill. It's him, and then you probably have Brady and Breeze right there, and then now I put Mahomes. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put Mahomes above all of them. Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. He's the best quarterback in the league. I would take him over Aaron Rodgers. I really would. I just really would. I think Aaron Rodgers is kind of having a down year. I don't think he's all the way there mentally. I think he'll be back next season. I just think that he was ready to get away from Mike McCarthy, and that's going to show tomorrow. So Ben has Julio Jones. Christian has Amari Cooper. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I would not have said this. There's no way I would have said this, but it's a coin flip at this point. Amari Cooper, Dak seems to have a good rapport with him. I don't know how Cooper tolerates it, but he does. Dak throws the ball to him, even though they're 6-7 yard passes. Amari Cooper turns them into something. He's very quick. He's very fast. He's very young. I like Amari Cooper, but against Julio, it's Julio Jones. What are you gonna do? It's a coin flip. Who would have thought that? Ben's got Tyler Lockett from Seattle and Robert Woods. Christian's got Juju Smith-Schuster and Stephon Diggs. Now, Christian does have, on paper, the better names with Juju and Stephon Diggs. We all know what Stephon Diggs can do. We all know what Juju Smith-Schuster can do. I mean, other than Tyreek Hill, is there a faster player in the NFL? I don't really think so. But Ben's got Tyler Lockett and Robert Woods too. They're not household names at all. But Robert Woods this season, to me, it has been the most underrated player in the entire NFL. In my league, it's a very high scoring league. I gave a lot of bonus points. I'm not going to give you my secrets, but I just know that I do get bonus points. And Robert Woods exceeds expectations every single week. I mean, he's an automatic lock for 16, 17, 18 points, sometimes even going up into the 30s. So usually I go with name, I go with style, but here I'm going to have to go with Lockett and Woods. I would take over Juju and Diggs. Ben's got Zeke and Christian's got Saquon. That's a complete wash. You know, what is there more to say about Ezekiel Elliott and Saquon Barkley? They're probably the two best running backs in the league. I love Ezekiel Elliott. I'm the biggest diehard Cowboys fan. I love him. He's my favorite player. Unfortunately, right now, I have to give Saquon just the tiny bit, like minuscule, like a tiny little millimeter above Zeke. But we'll see what happens in year 2. Next, the flex spot, we have Lamar Miller versus Bradley Chubb. And I'm going to quote one of my favorite Dallas Cowboys of all time, Deion Sanders. Ain't nobody care. Ain't nobody care. Ben's got Gronkowski. I will take him all day over Trey Burton from Chicago. Trey Burton, he might surprise somebody, but you kind of just have to go with Gronkowski on that one, especially since he tripped and fell. And kind of cost the Patriots the touchdown at the end of the game. And really quick on that, a lot of Bill Belichick and their special teams or their defensive coordinators, whoever puts the players out there, have been getting a lot of slack for Gronkowski being out there. I can't tell you how many times Gronkowski's been out there at the end of the game. The deep safety. He does it all the time. He's been doing it his entire career. All that happened is he tripped and fell, which has happened to everybody. If you've played any sort of physical outdoor activity on grass, there's been times where you've tripped and fell. And we're talking about NFL players. I believe it was Kenyon Drake. He's probably 23, 24 years old, running back. He's fast. He's really fast. If you trip up and you're Rob Gronkowski's big ass, you're not going to be able to catch him. Defenses, okay, so this might be one of the weeks where the defenses kind of carry the teams. They drop 10, 15, 20 points. Looks like Christian's going with Baltimore defense, who's going to shit all over Jameis Winston, I believe. Jameis Winston is all he does is throw interceptions. I mean, he's good for a good automatic 2 interceptions a game. Ben is going with Jacksonville against Washington. So we're either going to have Butt Fumble come out or we're going to have the rookie come out. Either way, I expect high scores from both defenses. So I don't even have numbers here. I'm just going to have to go with Ben over Christian just based on matchups and based on the players. I got to go with Ben in that bracket. The other side is my friend Satish and Zach. I hate Zach. I can't stand him. I don't think you'd be able to stand him either. He's a whitewashed Mexican guy. He's tall and he's got a really deep voice. And he talks like this, and he lets it be known that he has a deep voice. And he's got tattoos in his hair, and he's tall, and he's good looking, and his face is like boom, and then his nose is boom, like all perfect, and then he's got like this Adam's apple that sticks out. He looks like a Pez machine, Like he actually looks like a Pez machine, like his Adam's apple. When he turns his head, it's just like this candy coming out, So I don't really want him to win. He's also a model. Anyways, so Satish, So Zach doesn't have a quarterback. His quarterbacks are Jameis Winston, who I just described, will get shit on by Baltimore's nasty-ass defense. And his other quarterback is Kirk Cousins, which how are you going to start Kirk Cousins the way he's been playing? You know? And Satish made a very bold power move on the waiver days. He picked up 5 quarterbacks. He picked up, I believe it was Carson Wentz, which he dropped him for Damien Williams. More on that later. Damien Williams, I was right. He's got Lamar Jackson, and then he picked up Trubisky and I think David Carr and a couple other quarterbacks. He picked up all quarterbacks, and now he doesn't know who to start because he has Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, and Lamar Jackson. I think those are the 3 he narrowed it down to. So we'll see what happens with that. I would personally go with Russell Wilson. The Seahawks, they have something to play for. You know, Tom Brady's Tom Brady against the Steelers. You could go with him. Who knows what he's going to do? I don't really know what Zach's going to do with quarterback. I don't really care. I think he's fucked, and I love it. Tyreek Hill didn't have a good game tonight at all. I think I have the stats written down here at the bottom. I'm going to go over that later. He only had like 40-something yards. He dropped a touchdown bomb. You guys all saw that. I mean, he was just, and the ball just hit him right here. It just bounced right off, you know? Just bounced right off his head. That should have been, I think, a 50, 60, 70 or something like that yard touchdown pass. You know, in my league, that's 20 points. Satish has Odell Beckham. You got to take Odell Hill over this point. You know, I told you guys about Tyreek Hill. I told you he's boom or bust. He's either going to give you 7, 8, 9, 11 points, or he's going to give you 48, 49, 52 points. And that's a fact. Go look at the game log. Moving along, Zach's got T.Y. Hilton. I traded him T.Y. Hilton. I gifted him T.Y. Hilton. I guess I fell for his dreamy eyes for like 2 seconds. I'm not even going to tell you guys who I traded because you would just laugh at me. But he has T.Y. Hilton. I would take him over Corey Davis. Corey Davis, you never know what you're going to get. It kind of depends on what Mariota's doing, and who knows what that guy's doing. Hamilton, I think his name is Deshaun Hamilton from Denver. Humphreys from Tampa Bay, that's a wash. You know, we'll see what happens. You might be able to get 10 or 15 points from each of those guys if you're lucky. This is where it gets interesting. So Zach has really good running backs. He's got Todd Gurley, he's got Christian McCaffrey, who, I mean, that's an automatic 70, 80 points every single week. Christian has Kamara and Phillip Lindsay from Denver. Now, obviously, you're going to go with Gurley and Christian McCaffrey, but as you all know, in the fantasy playoffs, anything can happen, and anything does happen. That's happened to me, it's happened to you, it's happened to everybody, where you think your star player is going to go off, and then he gives you nothing. So, obviously, I'm going to go with Gurley and Christian McCaffrey, but I would not be surprised if Kamara... What happened with Kamara? You know, I don't want to hear Mark Ingram came back because they played together last year and then they killed it. So I expect Kamara to step it up. They're playing Carolina. They do have a good run defense. You know, Luke Kuechly's always on that ass, but I still expect Kamara to get it going. And Phillip Lindsay, he's been playing really well. I hope he keeps it up. We'll see what happens. Excuse me. Kelsey already played tonight. He did okay. He didn't really get him that many points. Zach has Ian Thomas, I believe his name is, the backup tight end. Now that Greg Olson's gone in Carolina, Cam Newton loves to throw to the tight end, so that could be a potentially good situation for him. Satish had Damien Williams. You should have watched my last video. I told you guys. I told you, this is before they knew Spencer Ware was out. I said Spencer Ware might play. You don't want to play him. Damien Williams is going to play as well. If you're going to play one of them, you definitely 100% want to play Damien Williams. Now, if people want to say, oh, well, you kind of knew it. No. I don't accept that. Because I put Damien Williams way above Spencer Ware. So when Spencer Ware went out, obviously Damien Williams was going to be promoted to automatic starter. Zach picked up Derrick Henry. I mean, he ran for like 400 yards and 8 touchdowns last game, so I can see that. But, you know, Derrick Henry, what are you going to do? I wouldn't start him I would not start him. If I had to start him, you would have to hook me up to an EKG machine. You have to put something on my brain. You would have to have a nurse come and check my blood pressure every 10 minutes if I was starting Derrick Henry. Going to defense, Satish is going to play Seattle over against San Francisco, which I would definitely do that. The San Francisco 49ers are injury riddled. They don't have anybody. They only have their wide receivers, and they're not doing anything because they're on their second or third quarterback, and they're on their third running back. McKinnon didn't even start, and then you had Morris, and then you had Breida. So they're on their fourth running back. And then Zach is going with Houston over the Jets, and that might be a little tricky for Zach. I hope he doesn't watch this video because I don't want him to change it because I want him to lose. But the Jets played very good last game. Sam Darnold, he got a couple touchdowns. They kept it close. Watch out for the Jets. The Jets always do that. Always do something crazy. When you think they're going to win, they lose by 50. When you think they're going to lose, they win or they win by 50. Who knows? All right, so I have Satish winning and I have Ben winning to win in the finals. We'll see what happens. I'll let you guys know what happens. My fantasy league, I'm the commissioner. We have a lot of fun. We talk a lot of trash. It gets a little crazy, but we're all friends. We get over it. We move on. The fantasy league is great. It's called the Trap House. So now I want to get into Thursday Night Football, and man, that was a great game. That was a fantastic game. Up until this season, maybe part of last season, these Thursday Night Football games used to be terrible. They used to be slow, they used to be sluggish, nobody could do anything. But as humans, we all evolve, and I believe the NFL and the players evolved, and they figured out a way to make Thursday Night Football interesting. And this was another game where they exemplified that. So before the game, I told you to start Justin Jackson, which I hope you did. He did okay. Keenan Allen, which he hurt his hip trying to make that miraculous catch. I love Keenan Allen. I'm glad he tried to make that catch, but I'm very sad that he busted his hip trying to catch it. And I told you to start Rivers, but then I told you Phillip Rivers, he's been the same guy he's been for the last 12, 13 years. I wouldn't necessarily trust him, but he does this. He does this all the time. And in the first quarter, it looked like it was going to be one of those Phillip Rivers 4 interception games, where he's just standing there on the sidelines and he's looking. He actually looks like my buddy Matt. He looks just like him. It's crazy, especially when Phillip Rivers has long hair. He cut his hair tonight, and I wish he hadn't have, because he looks exactly like my friend Matt. Exactly. But he just doing Phillip Rivers at the end of the game, he pulls out a victory. He makes it happen. That's just what he does. Tonight was nothing different. I'm not impressed. I'm not shocked. This is just who Phillip Rivers is. This is what he does. I was shocked that they went for 2. But am I surprised that he converted? No, I'm not. Phillip Rivers is a good football player. He's not as good as Romo. He never will be as good as Romo. Never was as good as Romo. Romo's legacy, to me at least, is way above Phillip Rivers, because Phillip Rivers has been the same quarterback. He hasn't gotten better. He hasn't gotten worse. He's just the same. At least Tony Romo got better. So I got my notes here. I'm just going to read them off, and I'm just going to kind of just commentate on them as I read. 1 minute into the game, Rivers throws an interception. Like I said, that's when I licked my chops, and I was like, holy crap, here we go. This is going to be one of those Phillip Rivers games. Mahomes owned that first quarter, man. Mahomes, he was playing. It was like watching like a senior, like on varsity against a middle school team at some points, At the 12-minute mark, he scrambled for a first touchdown, and that's the one where he ran this way, and then he ran back, and then he cut it back again, and he scrambled for the first down. And he's fast, man. He's fast as shit. He's shifty. He is the best He's the best quarterback in the NFL. Later on in the first quarter, the 9-minute mark, Mahomes again scrambles. This time he scrambles for a touchdown. So he's doing it with his legs. So not only does he have a rocket arm, not only does he make crazy passes, but he's got wheels and he can escape tacklers. The Chargers get the ball back, and still, when Rivers gets the ball, he's still under pressure. You know, the defensive line for Kansas City was putting the heat. I believe his name is Damien Jones. He was, just putting hurting. And whenever he couldn't get to Phillip Rivers, he was putting his hands up and he was batting the ball down. Damien Williams, killing it. For Kansas City, getting the ball back, killing it. I told you to watch out for Damien Williams. You should have subscribed. Now's your time to subscribe. Hit that button. Hit the thumbs up while you're at it. Mahomes getting multiple first downs, just moving the rock, just doing what Mahomes does. And then at the end of the first quarter, Mahomes touchdown pass to the other D. Williams. I forgot what his first name is, but number 45. That was actually number 45 touchdowns. 45 touchdowns for Patty Mahomes this season. That's crazy. I don't know if you guys remember when Peyton Manning was going for the record. I believe the record was 42, something like that. And then Peyton Manning destroyed that record. And I mean, what's Patty Mahomes going to do? He's already got 45. He's still got 2 more games left. He could potentially to him, he could score 8 more touchdowns in those 2 games. So moving along to the second quarter, Rivers under pressure still. Chiefs defense stepping up. Damon Jones again, constant pressure. I mean, in the first half, like I said, it was all the Chiefs bringing all the offense, and then it was Kansas City's defense stepped up, which I kind of shit on Kansas City's defense last night, rightfully so. I still don't think they're that good, but I will give them tons of credit. They stepped their game up tonight, and they're going to have to, because when you lose a player like Kareem Hunt, yeah, you can bring in another running back because it is Andy Reid's system, but at the end of the day, you have to have defense, especially with that team. You have to have your defense step up when you lose your star running back. I don't care what you say. Damien Williams, Spencer Ware, you can bring in all these guys. None of them are Kareem Hunt. Damien Williams is a great football player. He stepped it up tonight. Do I think he can do it for the next 2 games and throughout the playoffs? I don't know about that. I still have to see that. He was a backup in Miami for a reason. We'll see. But he killed it tonight, though. Damien Williams, what's up, baby? Like I said earlier, almost a close touchdown by Keenan Allen. Hip injury came in one play and left. So he hurt his hip, and then he tried to play one play. I think he got nudged, he got hit, and then he went to the ground, and then he didn't come back for the rest of the game. At the 8-minute mark, it was the first 3 and out for Kansas City. So the Chargers defense, they finally got tired of what was going on, and they stepped it up. The very first 3 and out for Kansas City at the 8-minute mark in the second quarter. Close to the 2-minute warning. Rivers, constant pressure, sacked after 2-minute warning. KC line killing it. I mean, the Kansas City defensive line all night was all about it. And then, of course, Phillip Rivers throws an interception before halftime. And how many times have we seen that? And at this point, you're just thinking this is going to be another Phillip Rivers game. I've already said that. I thought that was going to be true. I was wrong. I was right in the first half, then I was wrong in the second half. That's exactly Phillip Rivers' career. So Damien Williams gets the rock again. I think he got like 20 or 30 yards. Damien Williams killing it. You should have listened to me. And then towards the end of the first half, Mahomes was sacked. And I think he lost about 10 yards, and that was huge because they had gotten the momentum with the Damien Williams. I think it was like a 20 or 30 yard pass, and then Mahomes got sacked. So good for the Chargers for stepping up. And then it was halftime. So third quarter starts, early third. Tyreek Hill, huge catch. Gets upended in the air when he made that miraculous catch, and then he gets up and he's sitting there like just dancing like MJ, and I was loving it. I love it. He was dancing just like him. Again, you thought that Kansas City was just going to come out and continue to steamroll, and they did. Kelvin Benjamin, he caught one pass. It was a good catch. I don't like Kelvin Benjamin. I think he's kind of a punk. I don't know why he was talking trash about Cam Newton. Why would you ever talk trash about Cam Newton, who was an MVP? And why would you talk trash about one of your ex-teammates? Doesn't really make sense to me. Touchdown, Damien Williams. Satish is happy. You know why Satish is happy? Because he watched my video last night, and then next thing I know, he's picked him up. And he told me that he picked him up because of my video. So, Satish, you're very welcome for the, I think it was 33 points. You're very welcome during the fantasy playoffs. You're lucky I wasn't in the playoffs, or else I would have picked him up for myself, but I don't do that. 8 minutes to go in the third. Big first down by Rivers. Justin Jackson, first down. Justin Jackson had a decent game. He's by no means Melvin Gordon, not even close, but he did have a decent game. He showed some skill out there. He made a fingertip catch, I believe. He can play. He'll be okay under that offense with Phillip Rivers. Touchdown to rookie Mike Williams. I told you guys the Williamses. I said that the only reason that I would start them is if I was in a 14-team league or 16-team league, something like that. But as soon as Keenan Allen went out, they stepped up. They had to step up, and they did. Good for them. If you started them, good job. With 3 minutes to go in the third, big time stop by the Chargers again. At this point, I think was the turning point. The Chargers were all night when they had to make a play. They were making the play, and this is just another example of that. The Chargers get the ball back, and then almost another pick by Rivers. Another interception by Rivers. Like, what's going on with this guy? Stop throwing interceptions. And at this point, the crowd was serenading. They were doing this whole Florida State thing, that whole thing, which is cool. I like that. I like hearing that sort of thing. It's pretty cool. And then again, when Kansas City gets the ball back, the Chargers defense had momentum. Big time step up by Chargers D, led by Melvin Ingram. But it was negated by a bogus face mask penalty. I think they called it on Joey Bosa where he touched Patty Mahomes' face mask. I mean, come on, man. If they, I understand the rule, I get it, but if the defensive or offensive player, if they just put their hand, if they just do that, you gotta let it slide. So the fourth quarter starts, 14 minutes to go. Left-handed throw by Mahomes, and it was a flutter ball. He needs to stop doing that shit. I understand he's very confident, and he has two rocket launchers, the left arm and the right arm. But he really needs to stop throwing left-handed unless it's a for sure thing, because the left-handed throw he threw tonight was a complete flutter ball, and it could have been intercepted very, very easily. And why would you? You don't want to do that. You just want to run out of bounds, or you want to throw the ball. Live to see another day. Stop throwing the ball left-handed, Patrick Mahomes. Oh man, Tyreek Hill off the helmet. That was nuts. I mean, he was wide open, as he always is on those deep passes. When Tyreek Hill gets loose, he's like a good 3, 4, 5 yards ahead of everybody. And the ball, the ball was in the air, standard Patrick Mahomes pass, just and it came down and it landed right on top of his helmet, and it bounced right off. It just right off of his head. Troy Aikman makes a lame Jose Canseco joke and then laughs about it for about 5 seconds, and Joe Buck kind of goes along with it. I'm tired of those two. I don't know about you guys. Troy Aikman, I love Troy Aikman as a football player. He's a Dallas Cowboys legend. Okay, that's not to be touched. As a commentator, I used to like him, but I feel like he's just getting older, and he's turning into like this old man who just hates everything. Like, I don't really like it. And Joe Buck, I can't stand Joe Buck. Joe Buck needs to be taken off the airwaves immediately. To me, I get some closet racism out of him. It's just a little funny to me how anytime a black athlete, does something out of the ordinary, whether they celebrate or they taunt. He always has to take it to that next level by putting that player down, and I don't like it. Joe Buck, keep your mouth closed, or just retire. 10 minutes ago, Damien Williams is still doing it. You should have listened to me. And then with 8 minutes to go, he scores another touchdown. So good job, Damien Williams. If you would have listened to me, you could have picked him up. You could have had yourself 30 points. But, just hit that thumbs up and subscribe. That's all you got to do. Defensive lineman Jones, another tip pass. So Kansas City's defensive line, both teams' defensive line did very well tonight. The Chargers are down 2 touchdowns at this point. I think it was 28-14 at this point. They get the ball back. Big Gates, baby. He still has the moves. He catches the ball, does a little stutter step, gets about 14 yards. Surefire Hall of Famer, Big Gates, 38 years old. I don't know how he's still doing it, but he is. Justin Jackson, he caught the ball for a good 16 yards. Tyrell Williams dropped a huge pass, but it was negated by a Justin Jackson touchdown, so all is well. This is when they were in the red zone. At this point, when they scored a touchdown, it was a 7-point game, 28-21. The Chiefs were up. 3 minutes to go. Big stop by the Kansas City Chiefs. At their own 5, they almost muffed a punt. Big stop. I'm sorry. It was big stop by Chargers, and the Chiefs were at their 5, and then the Chargers almost muffed a punt. Let's see what Rivers does. At this point, Rivers had kind of turned it around. He wasn't, he was still kind of just, but he was playing a little bit better. Here we go. First pass, almost another pick. Penalty on Chargers. So it was 1st and 10, and then now it was a 1st and 20, a.k.a. the Dak special. You all know what Dak does when it's 1st and 20. It involves a complete, utter meltdown. You guys know how I feel about Dak. If you don't, go check my very, very, very first video. Great throw to Benjamin for 31 yards. Great catch as well. Troy Aikman, I think I don't know, man. He just likes to complain too much. He was complaining about a 4-yard gain because of the clock, and then he was the San Diego Charger caught a 4-yard pass. He went down, and then he was complaining about the clock. But there was a minute 30 left, and they were on the opponent's 30-yard line. Like, have you ever heard of a 2-minute drill? You used to play football. Like, stop complaining. Anyways, 4th down, great throw by Rivers to Benjamin again. That was a fantastic throw by Phillip Rivers. That's just what he does. It's crunch time now. 1st down, Justin Jackson wide open. Rivers misses him. 2nd down, Rivers, he gets hit and he gets up and he starts doing all that crazy Phillip Rivers nonsense that he does. He starts dancing. He starts doing the Mexican hat dance because he wants a roughing the passer penalty. And he's like jumping up and down. Calm down. Go to the next player, Phillip Rivers. Relax. Third down. They called a penalty on the cornerback for the Chiefs. He lunged and he grabbed. He didn't grab. He kind of just put his hand on the Chargers' arm. I wouldn't have called that because the Chargers pushed him off first. So I would have called that mutual contact. But of course, they didn't call that. If I was the referee, there's no way I would have thrown the flag. I would have been like, you pushed off and then he grabbed you. You guys are good. Move on. 1st and goal. Mike Williams, the guy from Clemson, touchdown catch with 4 seconds left. They're down 1. They reviewed it. I don't know why they reviewed it. He caught the ball and he was gripping it with 3 or 4 fingers. They'll always, these commentators, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, all of them, they'll always want to try to find a reason for it to not be a catch when it is a catch. Just let the football players play. #Dez caught it. And then you had the 2-point conversion. game over. Game over. You know, by Kansas City. They lost at home. They rarely use it. They rarely lose at home. That place is one of the loudest places, you know, on earth during the games. And you got to give credit to the Chargers. You know, it was a first half, second half game. The first half they were terrible. The second half, the third quarter they were better. The third quarter they were better. And then the fourth quarter they played fantastic, both their offense and their defense. It was a very the first quarter was all Kansas City offense and defense, and then the second quarter was Kansas City's offense, but then the Chargers defense started stepping it up. And then the third quarter, it kind of flipped. Kansas City's offense went a little bit down in their defense, and the Chargers were coming up, and then the Chargers pretty much, I don't want to say took over, but they played the style of football they've been playing the entire season, and at the end of the game, they gambled and they won. You know, I like the call. I like going for 2. Why not? Why not? You know, it's a division rival. The play was perfect. I know Skandrick, he kind of blew it. You know, welcome to being the Cowboys fan. He used to do that all the time. I can't tell you how many times Skandrick used to get smoked. He was a good nickel corner for us, but was he great? No. No. So let me go over the stats real quick. Hopefully you guys had these players. Mahomes, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not a standard Patty Mahomes game, but, okay, decent. If you have him, I can understand why you'd be upset. You obviously, everybody wants 400 yards, 5 touchdowns out of him. Damien Williams, 10 rushes, 49 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 receptions, 74 yards. That's basically like Kareem Hunt numbers. Just a replacement for him. Tyreek Hill blew it. He had -5 rushing yards, 4 receptions, 46 yards. If you had Tyreek Hill, you were probably in some trouble. On the other side, Phillip Rivers, 313 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 5 sacks in a win. Do those stats scream Phillip Rivers anymore? No. 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 5 interceptions, 313 yards in a win. Go figure. Justin Jackson, I would give him a solid B, maybe a B plus. Maybe I would give him a B. 16 rushes, 58 yards, 1 touchdown. Mike Williams, he replaced Keenan Allen perfectly. Good job, Mike Williams. 7 receptions, 76 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 2-point conversion to win the game. Tyrell Williams, 6 receptions, 71 yards. The Williams brothers stepped up. Benjamin, 54 yards, and Big Gates, which I don't know if anybody on this planet started him, but he gave 54 yards. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button, like. I do offer a TV service. You get all channels for $35 a month. I can't tell you how awesome this is. Okay, you get all channels for $35 a month. Do not hesitate to email me, humanredzone@gmail.com. I will let you know all about it. You want this TV service. It's only $35 a month, and you get everything. Let go of everything else. Big weekend, fantasy playoffs for everybody. I hope Satish wins. I hope Zach loses because I can't stand him. Ben versus Christian. Rest in peace, Ben's dog. Very heartbreaking. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. I'm going to make more of these. I'm probably going to do another preview video for Sunday's games. I'm going to try to maybe do maybe a little bit shorter. Try to go just a few players per team and just kind of run through it to give you guys advice on what I think. I think I will definitely do a preview for the Cowboys game, so I hope you guys tune in for that. You guys have a good night. I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.